Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to continue on with my Brewdog catch-up that I've been filming for you while I'm home in Scotland over Christmas. But we've got something a little bit different today. This one is the inaugural beer from the Beatnik Brewing Collective, which is it's kind of a similar idea to the Mashtag beers that Brewdog have done before, but the Beatnik Brewing Collective is exclusive to Equity for Punk shareholders, and this one is called Bounty Hunter Coconut Milk Stout. So it should be quite interesting. If you've watched my Brewdog reviews before, you will know that I really rate Brewdog quite highly when it comes to stouts, so this should be another interesting one for us to try. But anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you do want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual websites are in the video description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other Brewdog reviews I've done before. There's maybe about 60 or 70 of those now, so do check them out. And if you do want to go and see my other social media things, there's the Facebook, the Twitter and the Untappd all in the description below. Your support there would be much appreciated, and if you do want to see more beer reviews, just subscribe to the channel and check out my other Brewdog reviews if you're particularly interested in Brewdog beer. But anyway, to tell you about Brewdog quickly again. So Brewdog are the love child of James Watt and Martin Dickey, and they were founded back in 2007 at a small brewery in the Keswick Industrial Estate in Fraserburgh in the very northeastern corner of Scotland, right on the tip of the monster's nose, as I always like to say. But more recently they've moved their main brewing operations to their new purpose-built and very shiny facility in Ellon, which is closer to the city of Aberdeen where I used to study. But these guys are known for being a very sort of experimental craft brewery, and they cite Stone Brewing Company from America as one of their main influences. And if you try their IPA beers, which really are their kind of trademark, pale ales, IPAs and double IPAs, you can really see the Stone reference coming through. But personally, I think Brewdog are very good at brewing stout beers as well. Riptide is a personal favourite of mine, but they're known as well for their strong beers. They held the title of world's strongest beer on 3 separate occasions, but they've largely bowed out of that race now. But they're very well known as well for having a quite thriving chain of brew pubs, if you like. The first of these opened in 2009 with their one in Aberdeen. I was there on the first night that opened, and it was good fun. I don't remember much of the night right enough, but it was very good. And since then they've kind of spread all over the place. They're all throughout the UK now. There's one in Japan, there's one in Brazil, there's a couple in Finland, some in Sweden, some in Norway as well, and Germany's opening soon, France. They're all over the place, so there's very many opportunities for you to drink Brewdog beer, and they are looking to open up a second brewery over in Columbus, Ohio in America. But what's really interesting about this brewery, and this beer is actually quite close to heart, is that they have their Equity for Punk scheme, and this is where fans of the brewery, if you like, can actually buy into the brewery. You get a lifetime discount in the shop and in the bars if you buy shares in the brewery, and this is what they use to fund a lot of their infrastructure development, such as their new brewery that they opened in Ellon, the one that I think they're using it to fund the one over in America as well, and they funded a lot of their beer bars with it as well. But they're actually the largest independently owned Scottish craft brewery these days, and they've got a very cool business model, as you can guess by what I'm telling you, and they've just released a book on it recently, so if you want to learn more about that, go and check out the brewery website. But the Beatnik Brewing Collective, of which this beer is a product, was actually a programme that was introduced in January 2015, and the idea behind the Beatnik Brewing Collective is essentially the same as Mashtag. And remember, these were the beers that Brewdog have produced. They produce one every year, and essentially the fans of the brewery can go on Twitter and you'll vote for different parts of the beer. So you'll vote for a style, a malt bill and an ABV, a hop brand if you like, or a hop set if you like, and an IBU. You also vote for a twist and then the label and the beer name. And essentially this is the same idea as Mashtag, except it's exclusive to the Equity for Punk's shareholders. But I actually, oddly enough, I'm not an Equity for Punk shareholder. I'm still a poor student at the moment, so I can't do it. But this one I actually bought in Stirling Brewdog. They opened up a brew pub in my hometown very recently, which was quite cool. So I went along there and they had one of these. I just spied it and bought it. It only cost me about £3 as well. So I guess I'm quite lucky to be able to review this beer for you. But it should be very nice. So let's actually get on to the tasting of this one. If you want to hear more about Brewdog, just go and check out the brewery website. But I'll let you have a little look at the artwork on this one. So this one is a 6.5% stout beer. It's hopped with Galena. It has a 6 malt blend, and they've also added cacao and coconut to the brew. And you can see there, it's actually kind of a classic artwork there. You can see, I think this is a photo taken from one of the kind of tours that they did of the first meeting of the Beatnik Brewing Collective. So it says on the side here, Bounty Hunter is the inaugural brew of Beatnik Brewing Collective, a not-for-profit gypsy collective composed of equity punks. If you're drinking this, it's probably because a kind-hearted punk shared it with you. For me, it's not. It's because Brewdog Stirling had some of it. But consider yourself lucky. This was brewed by equity punks exclusively for equity punks. All the profits from this beer will go directly to a charity selected by our investors. We realise this label is none of the ones up for voting. We couldn't all come to a consensus and the beer was ready, so we packaged it like this. We hope you understand. And it says on the side here, in October 2009, a groundbreaking European first, Brewdog offered the public the opportunity to buy shares in the company online. The project was known as Equity for Punks. Since 2009, over 14,000 equity punks have invested in Brewdog through 3 separate rounds of Equity for Punks. And I think they're on the 4th round now. I'm sure the 4th one was 2015, so it's quite cool. I'll probably need to buy into them next time. But you can see on the top here the standard Brewdog cap. This is the grey one. There is a darker one as well, but this one is best before the 8th of April 2016, so it should be quite nice. Batch number 194, so quite looking forward to this one. With a milk stout as well, it will have some lactose in it, so just be aware of, for those of you who are lactose intolerant with this beer. Having trouble getting this one open, but as you can see, nice smoky opening with this one. But I'm quite looking forward to this. I don't know if I've actually had a milk stout from Brewdog before. I think this is maybe the first milk stout I'm having from them. Riptide, as I said, is a personal favourite of mine, but I really think this is the first milk stout, so this one should be quite an interesting review for us, and another first for my Brewdog reviews. But as you can see, this beer is poured a really nice dark sort of ebony rosewood colour, maybe kind of chestnut. If I hold it up to the light, it doesn't even have much light coming through it at all, but there's a quarter finger of a frothy beigey tan head there. Few bumps in it, but overall very frothy. There's 1 or 2 big bubbles sticking to the side of the glass, but quite a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of the head, but it looks very, very nice. So let's give it a smell and see how we get on. So without sugaring it up, it smells quite toasty. There's a bit of chocolate coming out of there, but overall it's quite a sort of toasted, almost rye bread character that you're getting out of this one. But let's sugar it up a bit and see what else we can get out of it. Yeah, you start to get more of the lactose, and there's a bit of vanilla coming out of there too, and some of the coconut as well, but the coconut in this is very, very subtle actually. You're not picking up much of it. This is more about the roasted malts. The bready character is really quite obvious in this one. As I said, it almost comes across as a bit of a rye bread character. A bit of milky chocolate too, but that's quite a subtle note actually. There's a bit of vanilla, and the coconut really is in the background. The thing that's really coming forward here is the sort of bready, the kind of roasted bready malts in this one. There's a bit of earthy hop character too, but again, that's very subtle. As I say, the main component of the aroma here is the big kind of bready notes, but with that you can actually smell some nutty character in there, and the coconut, and there's a bit of vanilla kind of infused in it. It's a very infused aroma, this one, so just be aware of that. As I always say, you should give your beers a good smell before you actually get stuck into them. So let's get stuck into this beer now then. This is the Beatnik Brewing Collective from Brewdog, and this is the Bounty Hunter Coconut Milk Stout. So should be quite an interesting one for us. Slàinte. That's quite good. The thing you'll notice about this beer, very, very smooth. So just sugar it around your palate before you start to dissect the flavour too much. As I always say, you want to do that when it comes to dark beers like stouts, imperial stouts and things like that. Just let your whole palate adjust to this beer before you start dissecting the flavour. But yeah, this is quite interesting. It's not like some of the other milk stouts I've had. Brewdog stouts for me always come across as being quite sweet. This one reminds me a little bit of the Riptide, but I remember the Riptide being quite a bit sweeter than that. I need to drink one of those again. That was one of my favourite Brewdog beers I've ever reviewed, right enough. But this one has a good toasted bready character. That just blankets the middle of the tongue, and as you start to move out towards the edge of the palate, that's where you're getting the lingering dryness from these kind of roasted bready malts in here. In the middle of the palate though, you've got this really interesting infused flavour. There's some sweet kind of milky chocolate in there. There is a bit of caramel and it's a little bit toasted. You can feel that just going down the middle of your palate, but infused inside all of that, you're getting some nutty flavours, maybe a little bit of woodiness coming out. But the coconut for me, it's almost like a kind of coconut milk, if you like. There's a little bit of vanilla in there, I think, as well, and the coconut flavours are mixing really quite a lot with that. This one, this is probably quite similar actually to some of the Paradox beers. It's got that very nice infused malt base on it. It's quite an interesting beer. It's rated at 92 on Rate Beer, and I can see why. It's a very nice infusion of beer. I like these big complex dark beers where you have to think a little bit about what's going on, and this one kind of follows in the same light. This is why I like Brewdog stout beers. I would maybe even go as far to argue that Brewdog are better at stouts than they are at double IPAs. Not a dig at the IPAs by any means, but I just really like the stouts that they produce. But yeah, that's really nice. They've got a good balance here overall between the roasted character and the milkier aspects. It's not the sweetest stout I've had from Brewdog, admittedly, but it is really quite nice actually. So you need to give this one a try if you can get a hold of it. I think I was very lucky to get it. But to the hoppy part of this beer, if you go towards the back corners of the palate, you can pick up some of the earthy hop character, and that builds a good bridge between the slightly drier, more roasted malt elements that are towards the edge of the palate. The hoppy earthy character in the back corner of the palate just builds a good bridge. It smooths out as you come further forward, and you've got just a little bit of dryness on the front corners of the palate before you go round that front curve there. But overall, quite a smooth earthy character to this one, just a little bit of dryness. There's maybe just a little bit of fruity ester behind the very front of the tongue, but not really that much at all. It's more, this one is definitely quite chocolatey and quite roasty. It's these roasted malts that are really lingering in the aftertaste. The coconut, for me, when it's a coconut milk stout, maybe it could have been added in a bit more of a strong, and they could have made the flavour a little bit stronger, I think. But the main point is it's a very nice beer, and it's one of these ones that has quite an infused taste. When I was expecting it to be a bit more forward in the coconut and milk, but regardless of that, it is a very, very good beer. And as I say, Brewdog makes some pretty awesome stouts. So to the mouthfeel of this one, I would say this one's definitely mid-bodied. It's got smooth carbonation, which is exactly what you'd expect from a stout. There is a little bit of a prickle, and that helps bring out some of these roasted malt flavours, but it's quite creamy, quite oily at the same time, but there's a nice sweet malty character to this one that mixes in. There's a good blend between the dry characters of the malt base and the sweeter aspects of it. It gets a bit drier as you move into the aftertaste from the roasted bitter character. That's what lingers in the middle of your palate, but there's a nice earthy hop in the back corners of the palate, quite dry, but as you move forward it becomes more smooth and a little bit more wet. So overall, this is another very, very strong stout from Brewdog. As I said, I thought it would be a bit more forward with the coconut and milk flavours, but it's more of an infusion, if you like. So it is very good in that regard. Just be prepared for that when you actually try this beer. But again, like I said, a very, very strong stout from Brewdog, which is what I've come to expect from their stout beer. So go give it a try. So as always, if you do happen to have tried this beer before, let me know in the comments section below your own thoughts on it. Always interesting to hear from you guys that are watching the reviews. I thank you again for watching, of course, and until the next one, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Go and check out my social media things as well, and go and check out Brewdog's website. There's a lot of interesting information on there, and they're always pushing out new beer, so there's a lot of things for you to try. So I thank you for watching my reviews again, and I will catch you soon with the next one. Many more Brewdog reviews to come, so do make sure to subscribe to the channel if you want to see those. Slàinte just now.